we're so glad that you've joined us this evening again. I've got some more friends with me. Of course, I've got my Caleb with me. And then I've got a couple of other friends. I have Miss Parker. She's joining us today. And then Johnny.
Hi.
All right. And so we're going to have some fun tonight. Because we have watched way too much Disney Channel this week, I have been inspired to have a Just Roll With It themed episode tonight. Sound fun?
Oh,
all right, y'all up for it? Okay. All right. So at some point during our time today, you're going to hear this sound. Okay? And we're going to see what 3 things might happen to us. And since we don't have a live audience to vote, Mr. Josh behind the camera there, he is going to decide what's going to happen to
what
us.
did I ever do?
Mr. Cameraman.
Okay, so gather your family, all right, and get ready to have some fun with us. All right, so we're going to talk about Joseph. What do y'all know about Joseph? Yeah.
He had a bright coat.
He did? He had a really cool coat, yeah?
His brothers tortured him.
Ooh, yeah.
He had 11 of them.
All right.
Family
Hey.
squabble.
In the stories, his coat was like really, really big.
Really big? Yeah. Okay. So if you want to hold that up, we'll talk about the first thing that comes to mind when we think about Joseph in the Bible is we think about his really fancy coat, right? He has a really fancy coat. And how did he get this coat? How did he get this fancy coat?
His dad gave it to him.
His dad gave it to him.
Jacob.
How many brothers did Joseph have?
11.
He had 11 brothers. Can you imagine having 11 brothers?
Family squabble.
Okay, so he had 11 brothers, but he's the only one that got this really fancy coat. How do you think that made his brothers feel?
Jealous.
Jealous.
Very jealous.
In
That's
one
right.
emotion, grr.
Grr.
They weren't
So we know the Bible tells us that he was his dad's favorite son.
Isn't that
That's not right.
That's not right.
just like I am?
He was his dad's favorite. Yes, you're my favorite son. That's right. And
Caleb's brothers.
so have you ever seen somebody get something and gotten jealous?
Yes.
Yeah? Have you ever gotten jealous of something somebody has?
My mom got jealous.
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that right now. All right, so Joseph, so this Parker's holding our picture of Joseph getting his coat. And now let's look at our next picture. So Joseph, he also had dreams of ruling over his brothers. And he would have these dreams and he would tell his brothers about these dreams. Just leave it like that. There you go. All right, he would tell his brothers about these dreams. And how do you think his brothers felt when he told them that I'm going to rule over you someday?
Jealous,
were
mad, angry.
Of course they got mad.
all of the bad
That's right.
Jealous and mad.
Okay, and you know what they decided to do to him? They decided they were going to kill him and tell his dad he died.
That's
That seems a little
It's
drastic,
not lying,
right?
but it's very
Okay.
aggressive.
like,
and
you have a jacket and I don't like it.
But then they decided not to do that.
Ruben.
They decided just to throw him in a pit instead.
That's not much better.
Then they changed their mind. Then they saw some travelers coming by. All right, next picture. Just put this down. Hold this one up.
Judah.
Then they saw some travelers coming by and they thought, ooh, we can get some money for him. So they sold him to these travelers. All right. Now, are things going well for Joseph?
No.
Not in the slightest.
No. Is he
not
ruling
dead.
over? Is he ruling over his brothers yet?
No.
No,
He's not dead.
That's right. So then the travelers went and sold him. All right. They sold him to a man named Potiphar as a slave. So he worked as a slave in Potiphar's house.
And he did pottery.
No. So I want to open up to Genesis chapter 39. Genesis chapter 39, verse 2.
32.
Just verse 2. 39, verse 2.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, Caleb, you want to read that for us?
Yes. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered and lived in the house of his Egyptian master.
Okay, his Egyptian master was Potiphar. So what was going on? He was prospering because why? Yeah.
He's prospering because his master was very rich and he was a good servant.
Okay, but it also says the Lord was with Joseph.
Yeah.
So during these things, was God still with him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are things going for Joseph now?
Good.
Going pretty good, right? He's still a slave, right?
No,
But he's treated really well.
Best that slaves can get.
Yeah. All right. And so then something bad happened. All right. He was accused of something that he didn't do, and Potiphar threw him in jail. Now how
Harsh.
are things going now?
Not good at all.
Not good.
All right. So Joseph's life's going up and down, right? Does
Emotional.
ours do that sometimes?
Emotional roller coaster.
Ours does that sometimes. All right. So then he's in jail with with some other prisoners, and while he's in jail, God helps him to interpret dreams that these people are having. And Pharaoh is in charge of everything back then. Okay, he was the big king. Okay, and so Pharaoh found out that there was this man that could interpret dreams. Now, this didn't happen right away. Joseph had to suffer in prison for years before this happened. But then Pharaoh brings him in and says, "Can you interpret my dream for me?"
Yes.
All right, so almost, not quite yet. Now, do you think that while Joseph was in prison, he just sat in the corner and pouted the whole time?
No.
No, he didn't.
Maybe he talked
He talked?
to tell about God and they all.
Maybe he did, that's right. You know what? Joseph had to roll with it a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had to just roll with it. He didn't just sit over in the corner and pout when things started going bad.
Just roll with it.
But he just rolled with it. That's right. Now, let's look at Genesis. Let's turn a couple pages to Genesis 41.
Thank goodness buzzers haven't gone off.
41 verses 39 through 40. All right.
39.
Johnny,
Yes, ma'am.
can you read 41, 39 through 40 for me?
39 through 40.
Yeah, so now remember, this is Pharaoh. He's with Pharaoh now, and Pharaoh wants him to interpret his dream. Okay.
Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne, I will be greater than you."
All right, so Pharaoh tells Joseph, he was so impressed with him. Uh-oh. No! All right, so our three options that we have that might happen to us are, we could have a worm shower.
Wait, what?
What? Isn't that from a different show?
They're gonna throw worms on us, or they could cover us in glitter.
No!
Glitter!
Or
Anything but
They
glitter!
could put pies in our face.
Yeah.
All right, so
that
we
one
don't
doesn't
know.
It doesn't.
Nice.
We don't know what's gonna happen. What do you think's gonna happen? All right.
I really hope
Okay,
pie.
we're just gonna keep rolling with it, and whatever happens, happens.
What did
All
all
right?
of them?
All right, guys, I'm going to be choosing what they're just going to roll with, and we've got the few options right here. What is Brother Josh going to choose? I think Brother Josh is going to choose a pie in the face.
Okay, here we go. Let's close your Bibles.
Can I keep my mouth open when this happens?
Sure.
Whatever you want.
Pie.
Okay.
Wait.
Pie in the face time.
1,
2, 3.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh.
Half of my face, and the other half is cold,
Okay,
while the one half is really, really cold.
Get your towels. We gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. Okay.
Roll with it.
Where's your towel?
It's on my nose!
All right. So let's keep
ever.
talking about Joseph. All right. Did you know that Joseph had a happy ending? Joseph's story had a happy ending. All right. Let's find out what happened.
That's special.
So we know that Joseph was called before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh realized that God had really been using this guy. I know, I've got it everywhere. It's fine. So he knew that God had really been using Joseph, And so he was going to trust Joseph and put him in charge of everything. So he was just going to be like the second in command. All right? So, here we go. Now, at the very end of the story, we find out that Joseph is reunited with his brothers and his dad, and he forgives his brothers for all that he does, all that they had done to him. And he's able to help his brothers because of his position. At the time that he gets reunited with his brothers are starving. They don't have any food. And so they come to seek help from Pharaoh, and Joseph is the one who gets to help them and get reunited and forgive them, and they get to see each other before their father dies. All right, now let's listen to what the Bible says in Genesis. I'll just read, y'all just listen. In Genesis chapter 50, this is the verse I want us to remember, okay? Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. Almost there. Chapter 50, verse 20 says, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring about this present result." Okay, and so we learned today that what people might have meant for bad, God uses for good. So, do you think that's true today?
Yes.
The bad things that happen today, do you think God can use it for good?
Yes.
I think he can too. All right. So we're being forced to go through something kind of bad right now. We can't go out and play with our friends. We can't go to soccer practice. We can't go to dance class, right? We're kind of just stuck, aren't we? Now, we can sit around and pout about that, or we can let God use it for good. So, I want you to think about how God has used it for good already. I want you to think about if you've been able to spend lots of quality time with your family, stuff like that, okay? Think about that. And I want you to pause right now, and I want you to talk with your family about what are some good things that have come out of being forced to just stay at home, not running around crazy. And so talk about that with your family, and then come on back and join us. We're going to take a lesson from Joseph through all of this, and we're going to learn that through the bad things, we're just going to roll with it, right guys?
Yeah.
We're going to do a little activity, and if you picked up a pack from the church, then you have some materials for this. If you didn't, that's fine, you don't need it. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to make something out of some toilet paper rolls. Now, I know it's bad at my house when you're in the bathroom and you run out of toilet paper, right? When you see an empty toilet paper roll, it's not good, right? Now, so empty toilet paper roll could be a bad thing, but we're gonna make something good out of it. We're gonna make bird feeders today,
Yay.
all right?
You can put it on your chair.
At home, if you don't have the stuff to make bird feeders, there are a jillion things that you can look up on the internet or come up with your own that you can make out of an empty toilet paper roll. And I would love to see what you have to make. All right, so what I did is I just we poked holes in our things, and y'all already have those, and put the rods through it, which you won't want to do yet because you want to put your peanut butter on first. So I spread peanut butter all over it, and then I rolled it in my bird seed. I stuck my holes in it, and I'm gonna go hang this on a tree, and I'm gonna get to sit out and enjoy the birds. While I'm stuck at home and can't go anywhere, I'm gonna sit out and watch my birds, enjoy my bird feeder.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all get started on that. Okay, and at home, if you make a bird feeder or you make anything else, I would love to see it. And if you get to post it online, if you will just tag North Highlands Baptist Church so that we can all enjoy all the things that you made. All right, if you still weren't able to come by and get your packet for this week, we've got packets for 2 more weeks if you want to come by and get those. And we're also in the middle of putting together some drive-through Easter egg hunt baskets. It's gonna be super fun. And so we're gonna have more information about that coming up. And I'm gonna let them continue to do this. And I can't wait to see how theirs turns out and how y'all's turns out. So have a great night with your family, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.